So yesterday, I uploaded a video about the supernova and the death of possible supernova, and I said if we got to 1,000 likes, I would upload a video the next day about a Yonko. Gladly for you guys, sadly for me, because I'm not gonna get any sleep tonight, we got to 1,000 likes pretty quickly, I might add. So thank you guys so much for the support. So on this video as well, please drop a like. If we get to 2,000 likes on this video within 24 hours, another video tomorrow. So I pondered because I have a video planned talking about Whitebeard, but then I thought about Shanks, and I thought about Big Mom. I said, wait, I've talked about Big Mom enough. Maybe I'll talk about Big Mom some more after we find out more about the Rocks pirates, but I have hell of Big Mom videos on my channel where I'm starting to think Big Mom might be my favorite Yonko. No, she's not. It's Shanks. So I thought about Shanks, but I have hella Shanks videos as well. And I'm saving something for Blackbeard, so guess what? It's Kaido time. And today we're talking about the end of Wano and who should take down Kaido. So the big question, who should land the final blow on Kaido? Well, it's a lot of things we gotta get to before we get to that final blow, right? First, how does Kaido actually go down? Because if you guys are in the community, there's a lot of things that float around, a lot of rumors, a lot of interview things. One of the things that came out was that Oda didn't even know himself how he was gonna defeat Kaido. That shocked the hell out of everyone, because if the author of the series doesn't know how to defeat this guy, how the hell should any character in the series know how to defeat this guy? I think Oda does this from time to time, in which he creates a character, or he creates something about a character that's just so over the top that he has to bring it down and nerf it. So then we as the viewers, we look at it and say, well, that doesn't make any sense. Let's go back a little bit and talk about some of the characters in which Oda hyped up to all hell, and then he had to bring it down a little bit because they were just too OP. Well, I guess I'll talk about one character because I don't want to go on for too long, but Law and Law's powers. The OP no Mi is literally OP. There was something I was reading about the other day, right? When Doflamingo, he was talking about Law's fruit and the power of the OP no Mi. And one of the things he mentioned was that the personality surgery, that was one of the main things that he referenced. Law did the personality surgery pretty casually to the Straw Hats. Why didn't he use that in the fight versus Doflamingo? Switch Doflamingo's personality with Sugar? That would change things a lot. But the thing is, these overpowered abilities, they can't be used in fights because it just wouldn't make sense for a fight to end that way. I would be totally unsatisfied with that if Law was able to defeat Dofi by switching his personality with Baby 5. So with that, Oda had to nerf him a little bit. With the OP no Mi, he was able to cut Virgo like nothing, but then Dofi was able to grab it with one arm. What is going on? And then Law meets Hawkins on Wano, and then Law and Hawkins, they have a little squabble. Of course, Hawkins used his dumb food power as well, and then they clash swords, and then it doesn't work. It doesn't cut like Hawkins' sword in half. So when does it and when does it not work? The next thing is the bird cage. The bird cage was literally unstoppable. No one could break the bird cage, not even radio signals. The bird cage was so OP that at this point they couldn't even radio out for help because it was blocking radio signals. And Doflamingo, it seems like he wasn't affected by it because he was fighting Luffy while maintaining a clone. Parasite was broken as well, but then Luffy broke out of Parasite, so then it wasn't broken anymore. I'm not sure how that works because Jozu didn't even break out. Of course, Jozu didn't try, but Luffy just went Gear 4th and broke out of Parasite. I don't know, but these things happen. Kaido, as we know, is somewhat indestructible. The main thing about Kaido is like, it's a lot of hype. The things we know about him is that he cannot be beaten, or he can be defeated, but he can't be killed. And Kaido went so far as to try to kill himself. You think that's probably a gag or something Oda's gonna expound upon a little later. And I think some of him being drunk plays into that because he's like a sloppy drunk, right? He gets crazy. But Kaido, how do you injure him? Of course it's possible. He has a huge scar on him, and Shanks was able to stop him from going to Marineford. But really, how do you beat this guy? We know he was captured by the Marines, captured by other pirates, didn't die, nothing happened to him. He broke chains, spears didn't work, nothing worked on Kaido. Here's the thing with that, and I know the narrator said it, right? Because they said, people say one-on-one, bet on Kaido. All right, perspective is important in One Piece, and that's a video that I plan on making at one point, perspective just in general in One Piece. Because, all right guys, from Katakuri's perspective, Luffy was moving around, but he wasn't blitzing around fast, high speed that he couldn't see, right? Because Katakuri, he can blitz around as well. But from the perspective of the people that were trying to shoot at him, they said Luffy looked like he was invisible. They're like, we can't even see what he's doing. We're just shooting blind here. The perspective of the people that say one-on-one bet on Kaido, have they seen Shanks? Have they seen Blackbeard? Have they seen Whitebeard, Roger, Big Mom? So with these people, it's like, all right, I'm going to put stock into the words of the quote unquote narrator that we haven't seen again since then. The only time we see the narrator is like in One Piece at the beginning when the intro takes too long in the anime. That's the only time this narrator makes an appearance. So I don't know how credible he is in the first place. The only narrator I trust is in Hunter x Hunter, okay? Because he broke shit down that I did not understand. So shout out to that narrator of Hunter x Hunter. Anyway, back to the story. So for Kaido, he has that lore, that hype, and now we're in Wano. And we have the supernova. So the main three supernova that we all have said should take down Kaido is Luffy, Law, and Kid. Because those are the three that stood out at Sabaody. It seems like those three were on the same tier, or at least had similar respect for each other. The other supernova are obviously important here, right? But they're not going to be the ones involved in this Kaido battle. Or they may be involved somewhat, but the last three standing will definitely be Law, Kid, and Luffy. So now the question becomes, not only how do you do it, but who does it? Well, there's several things we got to factor in here. First off, whose powers would work the best on Kaido as far as hurting him? I think that would be Law. Whose powers are probably the worst against Kaido? I would say that's probably Luffy, because he's not a long-range fighter and he has to be up close and personal with Kaido to hurt him. And also, that's probably Kaido's specialty. He has a club, for Christ's sake. I don't think Kaido's shooting out actually. Kaido does have a dragon form, like that full zone mode, but typically in One Piece, that full zone mode is the weakest form. So for Kaido, I don't expect him to fight in that form that much as far as like when he gets serious, but he does have long range attacks as well. But I think the perfect person to fight against Kaido is Law with his OP no Mi. But with the OP no Mi, like I stated before, when Oda hypes things up, he brings them back down to make sense for the story, somewhat. So Law is not just going to use a personality surgery on Kaido, gamma knife on Kaido, radio knife on Kaido. These things are probably not going to work on Kaido, so where does that leave us? What Oda has been setting up the entirety of Wano so far, or at least Udon, is the fact that Luffy's going to learn something new so that he could hurt Kaido. Luffy even said it himself. And you know, he somewhat hinted towards the reason why Kaido could be so dominant, his scales. So for Kaido, if he can maintain these dragon scales while in his regular form or his human form, I don't know, is Kaido fucking human? It's going to be tough to break through his scales. I mean, Big Mom is just on another level. Well, not on another level because people don't go crazy, but Big Mom, it seems like she's like an iron balloon, which goes back to the whole Rio and Haki and having that outer wall of defense. But Big Mom, it seems like she doesn't have to try, it's just there. The only time it can be penetrated is when she either wants to mate with a new husband or the Mother Caramel photo gets broken. So to penetrate Big Mom, you have to first become her husband so that she can let you in. Okay, this is getting weird. But back to Kaido. With Luffy's new technique, I believe Luffy's going to create the opening to be able to hurt Kaido, because with that Rio, I think he's going to be able to land in some soft spots to open Kaido up to make it vulnerable for other attacks. Now for Kid, we don't know the extent of Kid's powers because we haven't seen much of Kid, obviously, but it seems to be related to magnetism. I'm not sure how Kid's powers are going to operate, but I assume them to be on the same level of Luffy's, at least on the same level of Gear 2nd, and probably just Bound Man Gear 4th. That's my prediction right now. The reason being is that Oda foreshadowed this, right? In Sabaody, Luffy and Kid had the same attack. Well, Luffy used a Gear 3rd and Kid had a giant arm. The only difference in these attacks was literally Luffy got smaller because he didn't master Gear 3rd yet. Kid had no effects at all. So what does this tell me? At some point they were similar, or Oda is trying to show these guys are on the same level. The problem with Oda saying that, or somewhat trying to hint towards that, is that he hasn't shown this. Someone made a great comment about this and I loved it, but I didn't love it literally because I forgot. I'm sorry. Actually, no, it wasn't on the video. They said it to me on Twitter, my boy Rasslin Haslam. He said, it's amazing how Oda parallels Luffy and Kid, because on one hand, no pun intended, Shanks gave his arm for Luffy. On the other hand, again, no pun intended, Shanks took an arm from Kid. So in a way, Oda is trying to drive home the point that these guys, they're connected in some way, but they're vastly different, which works. It absolutely works because we need that. How beautiful was it when Luffy asked Kid to join him and he said he wants to follow his own path? And I think that's somewhat what One Piece is about. That's what Luffy does. In which Luffy could have followed Garp's path, or Dragon's, or even Ace's. Remember Ace asked Luffy to come to Whitebeard's crew. Luffy said, no, you know I wouldn't do that. Where Luffy is the staple or the poster child for following your own path. In every situation when I see Luffy, it's almost like I'm not sure how he's going to react, but it's unique because he's so naive, he's so simple, but yet it's like a deep meaning behind the things he does. Like with Momo, or even Robin, or Nami. It's like, it's so simple, but logically most people aren't doing the things that he does because they don't process information that way. I guess that's the beauty of Luffy. But with Kid, and with the backstabbing and everything going on, I don't see him joining up with them voluntarily, but he's going to have to fight with them reluctantly. But back to the matter at hand. How do we defeat Kaido? Again, I think the main person here is going to be Luffy, using Ryo and attacking Kaido with blunt forces and attacking that spot that he already has a scar. I think they're going to have to do that. And Kid, using the bunch of weapons and magnetism that he has around him, he should be able to pierce Kaido, because I would presume that Kid has haki as well and has absurd level of mastery, because again, he did not have that training in the New World or to go to the New World. He had to go right in, and the only thing he could depend on was his devil fruit. So for him, I actually, you know what, we're not going to go there, but for Kid, I expect him to have insane control of his devil fruit. He created an arm, for Christ's sakes. That's how he's using it. The only other person we saw do that, or the people we saw do that, was Pero and Aokiji, which is hella impressive, but we don't care about that because it's Kid. People don't like Kid because he took a lot of quote-unquote L's. I know with Kaido one-shotting Luffy, it's hard to see Luffy, Kid, and Law taking him down, but I think we have to think back to Luffy versus Katakuri and how impossible that seemed at the beginning. It was almost, I can fathom it, right? But Luffy found a way and he was able to come out on top versus Katakuri. And I'm not going to say defeat. Well, he did defeat Katakuri, right? He won at the end of the day. But I think more went into it than just strength. It was so much more than strength with that battle. Ideals clashed, and Luffy's ideals won out because, again, they make more sense. But for Kaido, they're literally just gonna have to wear him down. Law with his OP no Mi and playing support, moving people around the chessboard. Kid attacking with his several weapons. And I would expect Kid should learn advanced haki as well, because it wouldn't make sense if Luffy's the only person fighting Kaido that can hurt him. You know, Law has a cheat code, right, with his OP no Mi, but with Kid, how would he do that? People have been talking about blood bending because the iron in your blood, etc., etc. with Kid. I don't know if Oda's gonna go that deep, but he might, and that would be super cool. But I do think Kaido falls here. I do think they wear him down, and Gamma Knife may play a role. Now, the main thing people talk about is Law's immortality surgery. With this surgery, and he uses it on Kaido, it's a weird thing because Kaido isn't immortal, right? It just seems like he's very durable. So for Law to use that technique, it doesn't really change anything because we believe Kaido can die. It's just that nothing has been able to kill him yet. Let's say the immortality surgery is a thing, and that could make Kaido vulnerable. At that point, Law's probably dead. So now it's Kid and Luffy, which I don't want Law to die, but it would make sense for it to be Kid and Luffy at the end. First of all, they're two conquerors. They both have King's Conquerors haki. Their goals match. They both want to become Pirate King. They want to traverse the seas and be the one at the end on top. Law's goal is not to become Pirate King. Law wants to learn more about the will of D because of Corazon, and of course, asking Sengoku just confirmed this. So Law being the odd man out doesn't surprise me or shock me. Could Hawkins play a role in Law not dying? I think so, but that's another video. But say Law is out of the equation. Now it's just Kid and Luffy. Who should land the last blow? I think shonen wise, or just for the story trope, it should be Luffy. Luffy converting Kid, showing him that he is as brilliant as he seems from afar, maybe changing Kid's ways a bit, making him more of a nice guy, and Luffy's bounty just skyrocketing. Again, that's trash. I hate that. I don't want that at all. What I want is for Kid to get the last blow in. Now Luffy is currently at 1.5 billion berry bounty. Kid is at 485 or something around that. If Luffy's the one to take down Kaido and he gets another 500 million, he's at 2 bill while Kid is still at half a bill. There's no way you can convince me that these people are rivals or view each other as rivals, which I think someone has passed. If Luffy's at 2 bill and you still have Kid, let's say Kid gets a bounty increase and he gets to 1 bill, it still doesn't even out. In some way, Oda has to have Luffy be overshadowed by Kid. I know people are gonna say, he's the main character, that can't happen. I hear you, but in some ways, people could say Kurapika overshadowed Gon in Hunter x Hunter, in the York New arc. Like, nobody is telling me that Kurapika was not the most impressive character in that arc. And I feel like in certain situations, it doesn't matter if the main character gets outshined or outshone. I don't know how the fuck you say that. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you can make the main character shine in different ways. So I think this is the end of the road for Kaido. I think they have to liberate Wano. They have to make it a better place for Tama. And Kaido, I think it's run its course. It's been 2 decades. The samurai, they're all going to put their lives on the line to get rid of Kaido. So Kaido, either he dies here or he leaves Wano. and I don't think Kaido's leaving Wano without a fight. And to take down Kaido is going to take the best of Luffy, the best of Law, and the best of Kid. Even more support from the Straw Hats and the other supernova. I wouldn't mind a combination at the end. Law uses Gamma Knife, Kid uses something that can manipulate the inside of your body, and then Luffy comes through with his final clash of Ryo. But the thing is, it's all about perspective. The person that sees it, all they see, or the main person that could report it to the world government or big news Morgans, all they see is Kid getting his blow in. And then that gets reported back to the world government. Kid gets the highest bounty increase, and now things are more balanced. The other thing is that, okay, say that happens and Kid gets this high bounty. He still doesn't have a fleet. How does he get a fleet? The only way is Kid kind of converting the samurai to follow him, which I don't know how the hell that's possible. Or a supernova dies and then they choose to follow Kid. Their crew or their fleet chooses to follow Kid because Kid has a lot of ground to make up. Some people think that Kid is never going to make up the ground to Luffy. But do you guys think it's okay if it's just Luffy and Blackbeard? Some people are okay with that, but I think it would be better and more interesting if there are more horses in the race. If it's just Blackbeard and Luffy, then it turns someone into like a Naruto and Sasuke, in which Naruto fell apart when Sasuke and Naruto pulled so far ahead of the others, you know, it was no competition at that point. Now it's just the running between just those two, and we don't want that. So let's hope that the other supernova, at least Kid, becomes relevant, and I would love it if Law was as well. But guys, that's it. That's how I think Wano ends, with a combination attack not planned between Luffy, Law, and Kid, and then that's the end of Kaido. That's how the first Yonko falls. We're not going to even get into how she goes down, because that could be a whole whirlwind of different scenarios. When Big Mom fell into the water, that was a whole whirlwind of scenarios as well, and what it came out with was Big Mom having amnesia. It could go so many ways. We're not going to go there, but guys, let me know what you think. How does Kaido fall? Who takes him down? And should he fall in Wano? Leave your thoughts below. Again, 2,000 likes in 24 hours and another video tomorrow. Thank you guys for your support. Follow me at BragoDAce on Twitter. Follow me at BragoD.Ace on Instagram. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys so much. I haven't forgotten you. I appreciate you so much. Like, subscribe. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.